Hey NAI football fans, Cory Thorpe here with another edition of the NAIF Ball Podcast, powered by AdCraft USA, your custom apparel, merch, and uniform experts. Our friends at AdCraft have been with us for many years now. They've run web stores for us multiple times. These guys are NAI fans and family who are experts in the apparel and merchandise world. AdCraft allows you to take the hassle out of ordering. Let their knowledgeable design and customer service staff handle everything from hosting the store online, shipping the product, and helping your customers so you can get back to the game. Find them online at adcraftusa.com. All right, guys, tonight we go even further into the South. From the Sooner, we go to the Mid-South Conference tonight. We talk with the reigning Mid-South Bluegrass champions, Lindsey Wilson, and their first-year head coach, Phil Kleckler. Coach, how you doing tonight?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
I mean, we say you're a first-year head coach. I mean, but you're no stranger to Lindsey Wilson. This is what, your sixth season with Lindsey, if I can count right.
Going into my 6th year. That's correct.
Nice. So I mean, Lindsey is no stranger to you. You kind of know the ins and the outs. Let's take a look at how things went a year ago for you. You have a perfect season there. Let's dive into it a little bit. You get your first shot, your second shot in a calendar year at Kaiser University there, and you beat them 34-2 there. Just talk about Kaiser on really both ends of the schedule as you played them in the playoffs as well, and how y'all could beat them twice in the same year, as we know that's difficult.
Yeah, I think anytime you play somebody in a second time, and especially in the short span that we played them, and you have some familiarity with each other, but you try to, as a coach, you want to fight the complacency of the preparation, not for our coaches, but just not that our players did this, but hey, we're it's a new season, we're playing them. They have new roster additions, we have new roster additions. We have to still prepare and go about this the right way, and we certainly did that with the outcome of the game, and we were really proud of our team that day.
Pretty much the entire season was, I don't want to say steamroll, but there are some really good defensive performances there, including 3 shutouts in a row. And 2 of your first 3 games in the season, you hold your opponent to less than 10 points. So just a really good job defensively, and I know that is your calling card. About mid-season, we get a game at Bethel, and that is a shootout there. Talk about that game against Mike Jasper's squad.
Yeah, they're a really good program, and it's a long trip for us, and I don't think we had kind of done an overnight. I know certainly in the spring season of 21, we didn't have a single overnight till we went to the national championship game, and I can't really remember the early part of our schedule if we had one before that or not. So you fight that a little bit with going on the road and staying overnights, and then we played really well defensively in the first half, and we had them kind of on the ropes, and they got some big plays on 3rd and 4th down, and stayed in the game, and we I think we were in control of the game most of the day, but they certainly made us work for it, and it was a really hard fought contest.
And then in the playoffs, you get a game versus Montana Western, which had a little bit of external motivation, we'll say. We already talked about Kaiser. Then y'all go play versus Grandview, and I do want to get your take on this, because we were kind of on the same page. Picking Lindsey Wilson there, I believe both John and I both did against Grandview. And we just see Johnny Sullivan for Grandview come out and toss the ball around the lot. I just want to get your take on that as the defensive coach. Talking about growing and learning from that?
Yeah, I think it was, just kind of the same element of the Bethel contest, in that, Bethel had some success throwing the ball on us as well. And, we just allowed too many big plays through the air to be successful there in the semifinal game. And, if you'd have told me before the game that if we'd held them under 100 yards rushing, I'd have told you, we played well that day. And we did in certain spots. And, in the second half, we got our offense the ball, to have a chance to go win the game. And, as a defensive coach, that's what you want to do. But, ultimately it was, the result of the game was on us as a defense. We didn't perform how we had all year leading up to that game. And so, it was a tough one to swallow, and one we wish we could have back, but we can't, we don't. And, we're moving forward here into 2022.
So one of the things that marked your 2021 season offensively was kind of that midsection. You played a little bit without Cam Dukes, and that may actually end up helping y'all out a little bit, as you now have to play without your all-world quarterback as he graduates. Talk about breaking in a new quarterback, as well as bringing up next man up guys across your skill positions, and how you grow off of an offense that was very good for the last few seasons.
Yeah, I mean, I think you were exactly right in that. Cam's injury kind of allowed some guys to step up on the offensive side of the ball, and certainly got a couple individuals some Saturday snaps, and that's going to help them in their future. And we're really excited about what we're going to do in the future on the offense side of the ball. We hired Coach Matt Wright, who was in our program for several years and had been a part of our system, and has really adapted some things that he's learned at some different stops into our current offensive system. And we're really excited about where we're going on that side of the football. We have a ton of skilled players, and a solid nucleus on the O-line back, and we're really, really excited about the future there.
Defensively, you've got folks coming back at all three spots, or all three levels there, whether it be Heilig and Thurman on your defensive line, or another Heilig at linebacker, or Kayshawn Beasley in your defensive backfield. Talk about continuing to grow and, making up for Rob Carter's 8 interceptions last year.
Yeah, some of the interceptions are, caused by some of those front seven guys that are getting after the quarterback and rushing the throws and all that. But we have a really solid nucleus back on defense, and we're we'll have some guys step up as well, and that have been kind of waiting in the wings, waiting for their opportunity to get in the lineup. So we're really, again, we're not going to change much on that side of the football, and we have an identity that we who we want to be and what we want to be about, and we're going to continue to do those things.
So the one huge change that everyone is obviously going to notice is that for the first time in program history, you've got a true coaching change with Chris Oliver making the move to Georgetown. But, obviously with change, there comes new opportunities for you. And I know that having been at Lindsey Wilson for 6 years, coming into that 6th year, 5 years underneath Oliver, you've got a lot of his fingerprints on that program. So how do you go about then making Lindsey Wilson your own to, usher in the Phil Kleckler era of Lindsey Wilson football?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I've explained it kind of to recruits, and then, as coaches, we were hiring new coaches. I think of it as, like you said, we have a blueprint. We have a house with a great foundation, and really sturdy, and a lot of supportive people throughout Lindsey Wilson that support our program, and we're just gonna make some changes. We're gonna renovate a room or two, and do some things. How I'd like to see the direction go, and it's just coaching is about being yourself and not trying to be someone that you're not. And so I'm going to be myself and my personality and lead our young men in that way and lead our coaches that way. And I think if you're authentic and genuine, players and coaches are going to follow that and want to be a part of that. And that's what I've been doing here for the last 5 or 6 months or so.
Have y'all started spring ball yet?
We just finished on Saturday.
Very good. How'd spring ball go for y'all?
Really good. We had all different elements of weather. It was kind of it's been a wild spring in Kentucky for us. But we got through it very healthy, and it was a big growth period for the offense, just with the new changes there, and some different terminology, some different signals, all those types of things where our defense didn't have to, I guess, learn as much new things as what the offensive side of the ball did. So, it's really, we also incorporated more special teams than what we have in the past. It's a really big part of the game, and we want to work on the fundamentals of that aspect of the game as well. And so I think it was really productive, and we got a great foundation now heading into training camp here in August.
It's got to be nice. And I've been talking with coaches since spring began about how this is the first spring in Lord knows how long that you get a normal spring. Was it kind of like a return to normal for y'all, or did you use the opportunity to break in some new ideas you'd learned since the last normal?
You're absolutely right. I mean, it's been 2 years since we've had a normal spring. So, but I think it's been kind of a normal process in what it's been in terms of getting out of recruiting around signing day, and then kind of focusing on our roster and kind of those mat drill type settings. Majority of our roster hadn't been through kind of that type of thing, and then the 15 spring practices as well. And spring practice is fun, but it can become a little bit of a grind from a player standpoint as well, because you're not getting ready to play somebody. You're working on football things, and sometimes it's hard for them to see the light at the end of the tunnel of what the purpose of it is. But we had a very productive spring in doing that, and I think our guys did a really good job of keeping it active and fresh, and we tried to do that with our practice schedules as well. And we practiced on some Sundays, we practiced Saturday mornings, did a Thursday night or two. Kind of intentionally tried to do that with our schedule to kind of keep our guys on their toes.
So going into next year with the Bluegrass, with the Mid-South as a whole, you no longer have a third of your conference here in the Sun Division. And so, probably good for everyone involved. You don't have a fourth meeting with Kaiser in 18 months. I think both teams are probably tired of playing each other. But you do have, you had a lot of coaching change in this off season, mostly among yourselves. Talk to me about making sure that you take care of the Bluegrass and how much fun it's going to be. Fun in either sense of it, I guess. Playing guys that you're really familiar with, whether it be, Mike Jasper, who you've played for several years, or coaching head-to-head against Shan Housekeeper in a battle of former defensive coordinators. Talk about how the Bluegrass is going to shake out.
Yeah, there hasn't been a ton of coaching turnover in the Bluegrass, and so that's kept things very consistent in terms of team identities and coaches. Obviously there's some assistant coaching changes, but and then I think you hit the nail on the head about now there's a flurry of changes in the conference, but it's a lot of familiar faces. So I think it's gonna keep things, I don't want to say the same, but in the same of that everybody knows what you're going to get week in and week out, and you got to bring your best. And if you don't, you could be in trouble in a hurry. So it's a great conference, and adding Faulkner into the Bluegrass now is adds another element to it as well, for a lot of different factors. And I saw them on video a few different times in the fall, and they're doing a really good job down there as well. So that would be an interesting dynamic. I think probably the biggest change in the conference with adding them.
So, kind of our final question here that we've been asking to everybody, and interested to get your take on it as you've been able to see it over the last several years, is how does Lindsey Wilson connect with their alumni, whether it be football alumni or non-athletic alumni and fans, to create ongoing support on the field on game day or off the field in what you're able to do with your resources? I know y'all last year just named your football stadium, either last year or the year before, and got those naming rights over. So talk about how Lindsey Wilson grows that support.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. In the stadium naming rights, it was just this past fall. It was changed to Parnell Family Stadium, and then that was the alumni standpoint was something that was a big priority for me when I became the head coach. And we recently just formed what we're calling the Lindsey Wilson College Gridiron Club. And we're getting to a point in our program now where we've been around for 12 years and we have some alums out there. And we were at a disadvantage before when, you're a younger program, you don't have former players. And so we just formed that club, and we just had some individuals at our spring game this past Saturday, and some that couldn't make it, but we're going to start doing some socials and a golf outing. And, the opportunities are endless there to do that. And then, another factor we're trying to do is we also did a youth clinic this Saturday morning before our spring game. And so, we're trying to be a little bit more, we've been involved in the community with community service, but, just being around young people. And that's what our guys like to do. We've done a couple different community service projects with the school district here, like during Dr. Seuss Week. And, I've been a part of that as an assistant. And I was like, how can we get our players around more of the young people in the community to encourage them to do sports and play outside in the age of video games and all that. I have an 8-year-old son. I'm going through all that stuff. So, and so that was a really successful event. The weather didn't cooperate as much as we liked it, but we had a really good turnout for the circumstances. And that's something that we're going to continue to try to grow in the future. And I think our guys really enjoyed it as well.
Well, Coach, thanks for coming on the show tonight. I really am looking forward to it. I say it every week. I mean, late August can't get here fast enough. It's insane. We're what, 4 or 5 months away at this point. It needs to get here. But I'm going to be very interested to see what happens in the Mid-South, because it's going to be very interesting, and I think there's going to be some really great football that's happening, and a lot of parity from top to bottom.
I agree. I want camp to get here and stuff too, but I do want to have a little time off here after having quite the journey of spring season of 21, playing longer than everybody else in the short turnaround, and then making the semifinal run, and then having the coaching change 9 days after our season ended, and it's been a full sprint for me. So I'm looking forward to a little time off, but we're going to be ready for training camp and ready to go at it too.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the NAIAF Ball Podcast presented by AdCraft USA. Be sure to contact them for all your custom apparel, merch, and uniform needs. Thanks also to Mommy Bay Turf and Turf Nation, as well as Leading Edge Fundraising for their support of the podcast. If you enjoy the show, subscribe to the podcast as well as to our YouTube channel. Leave us a review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts. As always, if you'd like to support what we do, head over to patreon.com/NAIAFBALL and become a patron. We can't do what we do without our sponsors and listeners like you.